That was the most I've enjoyed watching Manchester United in a long, long time. Relentless, constant attacking, 4 goals and an aggressive style. That's what Ruben Amorim wants. That's the identity he's working towards at United. It doesn't matter that they went down to 10 men. United still went heavy on the front foot. Let me run through and explain a few things that we saw in that 4-1 win over Sociedad, because there were real glimpses of what the future can be. Let's be honest, the majority of this season, it's been hard to be really positive about the future. Been holding on to things, been holding on to little frameworks and bits we can see under Ruben Amorim, but we know that it's a long journey. That game against Sociedad was a real glimpse towards what we are going for, what Ruben Amorim is going for, and what we are making signings to improve. I'm going to run through some really important takeaways from that game. You can let me know in the comments below what your reaction was, because I haven't enjoyed a United game like that, for a good while. Now, number 1 on my list is absolutely about the physical team performance, which you noticed it when you were watching it. And Amorim, it was the first thing I think he said when he went on TNT Sports after to give his match reaction. He goes, yeah, we showed a little bit of the future, but the physicality was there. Talking about how it's easier in the Europa League compared to the Premier League, but the physicality was everything, really. Across the pitch, whether you're talking about Dorgu or Heaven or Xerxes or Højlund or Bruno or even Casemiro as well. Everybody was physical in the right ways. It's not just about being overly aggressive and just trying to press crazily. But also part of why it was good was because of the shape. You can see here, you've got left wing-back Dorgu. You've got right wing-back Dalot. You've got the striker Højlund through the middle. You've got the 2 number 10s behind. You can't see him because he's just off screen, but Bruno is just here. That's 5 players attacking the edge of the box. Your wing-backs aggressively going forward. The physicality was there, sure, out of possession, but in possession as well, United were more aggressive. Dorgu held a much higher starting position as left wing-back, and therefore the back 3 becomes a back 3 instead of being a back 5, which we've seen so often this season. We've been using a low block because the players have been more comfortable. If Amorim gets his way ultimately at United and builds the team he wants, what we saw last night, that's what we're going to see more of. That's the identity. Far more aggressive wing-backs, aggressive all over the pitch, and United were dominant. That's exciting, because that's what I've been talking about. We haven't seen enough of it. It came together last night against Sociedad. Sure, them having 10 men helped towards the end of the game, but even before that, it was impressive. And 2 players who were definitely impressive were Dorgu and Heaven. They made a big difference down that left-hand side. Amorim took you can call it a gamble if you want. I would just say he took a nod towards the future, rather than maybe something that could have been slightly less risky is starting Lindelof because he's got European experience. But Heaven showed he was more than capable. And by the way, just remember this, £1 million. There are signings to be made if your scouts are good enough to identify the right players. Okay? Fantastic performance from him. But just having those 2 on the left-hand side, both left-footed, obviously that opens up their bodies and they're more suited to those positions. But just in the confidence that they had. Well, there was one point where Heaven got nutmegged by Kubo, but who was there to cover up? Dorgu. Who's there to cover going forward? Dorgu and Heaven. They played well with each other down that left-hand side, and it added a big physicality. Because Amorim knew that Heaven could cover that space on his own in the back 3, Dorgu was able to be aggressive as the wing-back rather than defensive. And because he's got natural attacking tendencies. Both of them deserve props for their performances. And if that's an inclination of what 2 new signings signed for Amorim by Ineos can do since January, then it's a sort of a nod towards what could happen if United have a good summer and we make 3 or 4 signings. I'm not saying we're not going to hit the bullseye with every signing, but if we have 3 or 4 signings that settle in and make a difference, you can start to see the identity of the team truly building. But big up to both of them. Now, 3rd on my list, I want to speak about Bruno. Of course I want to speak about Bruno. How can I not? Anybody who's been a follower of the United People's TV for long enough will know that I've defended Bruno, and I always will do. I always found it strange how so many United fans went after him. Him just pulling out a hat-trick last night. Both of those penalties, just filth, really. Look at that move done. Opposite direction. Just stroke it in. Doesn't even come off the ground. It's like a grass cutter. A hat-trick from him yesterday. And someone left a comment this morning on the live show saying that Bruno Fernandes is going to be remembered as this team's Brian Robson. And I'm guessing the comparison between the two would be that when Brian Robson was at United, United weren't there winning all the titles. United were being dragged upwards by Brian Robson. He was sort of trying to set the standards that others could follow. And I believe that's what the comparison was. But Bruno Fernandes has been at this club through an absolutely torrid time. He's now the all-time Europa League top goal scorer. That's a problem. We shouldn't be in the Europa League so much. I love him. He's going to go down. I think the word legend is overused at this club. Bobby Charlton's a legend. George Best is a legend. Wayne Rooney's a legend. But Bruno Fernandes, it's just, I still can't believe how much I've had to defend him against United fans, let alone other fans. Love him. Absolutely love him. And I'll tell you what else I'm loving watching right now is Joshua Zirkzee. Zirkzee had a tough time at the start of United. He really, really did. After that Newcastle game, it could have been enough to break a younger player. But he came back, he came through it, and he's looking stronger, fitter, a bit leaner, a bit sharper. And now we're starting to really see the technical qualities that make Zirkzee such a unique profile. On the last show, we were trying to talk about what players could you compare Zirkzee to in terms of playing style. There aren't many in the course of football. 6'4", big powerhouse, playmaker type number 10s. It's a unique profile. That's why it's exactly what I said when we signed him. Now, Amorim speaking here is saying that maybe he can be a little bit more direct. It hasn't always got to be about technical qualities if you can get the end product. And that might be something that he has to sort of help him develop and help him learn. But I think he's developed himself fantastically since that Newcastle game, and he's just growing in confidence. And the more, the sharper he gets, the better his football is. And his enabling play as that connecting number 10 is fantastic. And just a quick shout out here to Højlund. That might have been a game where he didn't score again, but it was a game where Højlund really played better. Think he deserved a goal yesterday, but got the assist, and it was a cracking assist. Just keep it up, Højlund. At some point, the duck has to be broken. Duck has to be broken? You know what I mean. That probably doesn't make sense. But number 5 on my list, I want to speak about Old Trafford, because I thought Old Trafford last night was fantastic. Apart from the pyro, which was hilariously bad. But from the first whistle, the players, or the fans were behind the players. Even when we were 10 minutes down, awful 10 minutes, 1-0 down, the crowd got behind the players. And Amorim spoke about it after, saying, look, you can feel it. You can feel that noise. And I don't know whether this is a consequence of a realization maybe from the fans that this is the beginning of a very, very slow goodbye, but it's the beginning of a goodbye to Old Trafford. And everything now carries more meaning. I don't quite know. But last night, Old Trafford, for the first time in a long time, seemed like a platform to perform for the players rather than a burden and something to be scared of. And when Old Trafford is like that, Old Trafford is a weapon and makes United very hard to play. So I hope that continues across the season. But that really was the most enjoyable game I've watched in United in a while. It was on my birthday. Loved that. Can we take it forward into Leicester? We'll find out. I hope we do. But that was a glimpse of what Amorim is building towards. He's not trying to build a deep back five with a low block. It's not what he wants. And also the fact that you're seeing Amorim celebrating like that, he keeps himself very muted on that sideline. I think he got excited about what he was seeing too.